I introduced you, I'm gonna say this is a friend of mine. That means you're a connected guy. Now, if I said instead, this is a friend of ours, that would mean you a main guy. Capiche?
Hi, sir. How are you?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good. So we got a big fight coming up, what, about a week away?
Yeah.
And we know from your last epic battle with Brian Nero, you're the Pacific Northwest bad motherfucker, and now you're going in to make it champ with the 155-pound title. How's that feel?
Excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Other than I follow your Instagram, other than little man waking you up at ungodly hours in the morning, how's training camp and all that stuff coming?
Other than that, everything's good. Weight's going down. I'm on track to hit it. Training's been phenomenal leading up into it. I've been in a long camp. So I'm looking forward to actually getting ready to compete and get it back in the cage.
Speaking of competing, you've been in this game for a real long time.
Yeah, yeah.
What makes you still, from the first fight way back when to coming up Saturday, what makes you, and I know you've journeyed everywhere, you've been in all kinds of organizations, different fights and whatnot. What in you still makes you want to get up and go do this?
I still have that urge to compete and test myself and see how far I can push this and how good I can actually get and be. And just the fact that I'm able to still go out there and compete with all these guys, it's just satisfying to me because I've always wanted. Once I started training, like 16 years ago, I was like, man, I want to fight, and I want to fight as long as possible. So as long as my body is willing, I'm gonna get in there and continue to throw down.
What how do you, I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but do you feel, other than experience and stuff like that, do you feel any differences in yourself from that first time you stepped into a fight to now?
Yeah, there's a shit ton of differences, but um, I'd say like the main thing now is just I'm more focused on the smaller details instead of looking at the bigger picture. I'm focusing one fight at a time and making sure that each fight I can see a growth in myself and the way I compete.
From your last fight at Koga. I know you took it on short notice and all that stuff, but have you gone back and rewatched that fight?
Yeah, I think I've rewatched it 5 or 6 times. Uh, like as soon as it was over, I was just like hard on myself. Like, damn, I thought I was in shape, in decent shape, and during the fight, I felt like I was just like dying. Like I was that's what exhaustion looks like,
That is,
and
yeah,
watching the film, it didn't look as bad as it felt in there, if that makes sense.
that's good. No, I mean, sitting ringside, watching you guys do it, and then also seeing you guys
Yeah.
after when I came in the back and both you guys were just dying, leaning against walls. There were buckets in front of you guys, doctors talking like you guys were what you just said.
Yeah.
That was the embodiment of when someone says you're exhausted, you're not tired. These
Yeah.
two guys are tired.
Yeah. And so
What
I think that that fight experience has helped me grow in a way because now I know I always thought like this was my limit. And for that fight, we went way and past and beyond the limit. So now I'm like, all right, so I know the limit's way up here. So I can push further and harder during training to try to get to that point where I was at in the last fight.
stepping into that against Brian, what surprised you most about that fight or about him?
Um, Nothing really, like looking at his record and then watching some of his past fights. I know he was gonna be tough and solid all the way around. Um Great shape. I think the fact that I couldn't finish him when I usually would finish guys or guys would just like go away. Yeah, that was a little surprising in the first. All credit to him. I don't know game plan wise what he was getting ready for, but I know I present sort of a weird challenge for most guys. So just the fact that he hung in there and he was throwing to like the last fucking second, which again, like when I hit most guys, they don't want to exchange, they want to grapple. So the fact that he gave me a battle on the feet was just was beautiful. I loved every second of it.
So the fight against Dex is for the interim 155. The winner would have to face the champ, who is Brian. Does a rematch with him excite you? Would that get you?
Oh yeah, it gets me going. Yeah, that gets me. I told him after the fight, like I was like, I'm down to like we have to do it at 155 because I feel like that would be fair for him and for me. We have a full camp, and I'm down to run it back like whenever.
All right, I'm gonna ask you 3 quick questions. Just clear your mind. First thing that comes to mind. When you were a little kid, and we're both the same age, so when you were a little kid, what movie was on repeat? Like the VHS was in, then you put it in the rewind, you put it back in, you just kept rewatching it.
Tombstone and Hook.
Oh, good answers. Good answers. What you're going through training camp throughout the week, what cheat meal are you looking forward to the most?
Ooh, more than likely Chipotle.
Everyone says that. That's like the third answer I've gotten is Chipotle someone's cheat meal.
Because it's not as bad too, so you don't feel as guilty, but it's away from the chicken and fucking steamed broccoli I've been shoving down my throat.
Who do you compare yourself to UFC fighter wise? Like who do you look up to the most? Who do you compare yourself to the most?
Oh, damn. Current UFC fighters or
anyone you want.
Anyone? Right now, like in the UFC, I would say Michael Johnson. That would be like my number one, Michael Johnson, because I feel like we have the same style where we go out there and we bang. We're not looking to grapple, we're looking to finish fights on the feet. And now we've both just been in the game for so long that it's just evolved and we've evolved with it.
Nice. How do you remember what the first UFC you saw, like UFC 1 on VHS from Blockbuster? Like when did you fall in love with the sport?
I remember watching I think it was UFC 1 with my uncle and just watching. We would watch flip between that and WWE and just flip back and forth. And I was like, man, I want to do one or the other. I want to either wrestle or I want to fight. And he was like, "You think you could do it?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I could." So when I got offered my first fight, I was like, "Oh yeah, I could definitely see myself getting in there and throwing down."
So now let's go both these paths. Who's your number 1 or top 3 UFC fighters of all time? Like you always watch, you look up to. Who are the top 3?
It would go BJ Penn, John Jones, and Quinton Rampage Jackson.
Nice, solid answers. All right, now flip it. Who are your top 3 favorite professional wrestlers?
Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and I would go with probably Kevin Nash.
Oh, I love those answers. Those are great. Kevin Nash is underrated. No one ever says
super underrated. Super underrated.
So good. All right, man. Well, you go back to work. Hopefully, little man lets you get some rest, and I will see you at weigh-ins.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, the show is presented by Combat Games MMA.